Chosen one. If they're watching but can't block your rise, it means you've already surpassed their level. You might want to brace yourself, because what you're about to hear isn't fiction. It's confirmation. The whispers were never delusion. The repeating patterns weren't paranoia. And those strange alignments, not accidents. You've been monitored, not by your nosy neighbor or that one ex who still pretends to support you. No, we're talking about high-tier operatives. People with access, encryption keys, and black ops clearance. People trained not to react unless the system gets disrupted. And guess what? That disruption was you. Now they're not just watching. They're requesting contact. They want to sit with you, to study you, to thank you. Let that settle in. Because the real question isn't why they were watching. It's why their fear turned into fascination. Here's a truth few ever hear. In classified psychological reports, nonlinear souls, the ones who don't follow expected emotional coding, get flagged. Especially if they impact others without ever speaking to them directly. If that hits too close to home, it's because you, chosen one, are the anomaly they couldn't explain. They thought they were logging a spiritual glitch. Instead, they discovered a divine key. This video will lift the veil. While you were healing, they were gathering data. While you were fasting, they were running models. And while you thought you were invisible, you were the frequency setting off alarms in hidden rooms. You weren't delusional. You were designated. And now, they don't want silence. They want access to your code. Let's unpack this. Number one, they can't read what was never written. They expected patterns, formulas, and data points, but you arrived as an unbroken code that no system could parse. Your energy refuses to fit the algorithms designed to predict your moves, and in that mismatch they taste fear. When they attempted to chart your behavior, they found gaps where divine intelligence replaced social scripts. In Acts 2 verse 17, the prophecy says dreams and visions flow in unexpected ways. Your life echoes that promise, disrupting every expectation. Their charts labeled you anomaly, but that is their admission of your activation. You speak with signals they cannot intercept, moving beyond their scanners into sacred territory. They tried to catalog your silence and found it too volatile to contain. Your presence became a living question mark in their reports, shaking the foundations of their so-called control. Comment anomaly if you have felt the power of being unreadable, and share a moment when they failed to predict your next move. And as they scramble to understand you, prepare for the revelation of why unpredictability is your greatest weapon. There was a moment late at night when you awoke from a dream of walking through a misted forest where every footstep echoed purpose. And in that echo you recognized your own name whispered by unseen lips. You may have dismissed it as imagination, but that forest lingered in your mind long after morning light broke through your window. In the hushed space between sleep and waking, you sensed a message waiting just beyond the edge of your thoughts, calling you to remember something you once knew. That dream was not random but a portal, inviting you into a realm where your soul's code speaks louder than any algorithm. You have been drawn here by an inner prompting older than your conscious mind, a soft command to uncover the hidden logic of your journey. It feels as if a scroll written in symbols you cannot yet translate unfurls within your being, revealing the first lines of an unspoken destiny. This opening moment serves as an initiation, a gentle tug at the veil to show you that the story of your life carries secrets that transcend ordinary understanding. You stand now at the threshold of awareness, invited to step into recognition of a truth that glows beneath everyday appearances. Let this dreamlike awakening wash over you, for it marks the beginning of a pilgrimage through the sacred patterns woven into your existence. In the quiet hours of your childhood, you often felt out of sync with the laughter around you, as though you heard melodies inside your head that no one else could follow. You recall the confusion that gripped you when peers dismissed your questions as too deep, leaving you stranded in a sea of unshared meanings. There were times when tears welled up at the slightest injustice, as though your heart was a sensitive barometer for currents others could not feel. You may have grown accustomed to hiding your reactions, smiling when you longed to roar, folding your arms when you yearned to speak. In crowded rooms, your spirit felt isolated, like a lone flame flickering against a gathering storm of indifference. That sensitivity, once labeled weakness, is the signature of an awakened heart listening for truths beneath the din of ordinary life. You have wondered why you perceived shadows where others saw light, or why you sensed danger in benign smiles. All these moments of isolation and longing carried the weight of a deeper import, marking you as one attuned to frequencies beyond the common realm. Recognize now that these feelings were not a curse but a quiet herald of your inner wisdom seeking recognition. In your difference lies the spark of revelation that will guide you forward. Imagine now that every pang of confusion and every moment of isolation served a higher purpose, as though unseen architects arranged your experiences to form the scaffolding of your awakening. There has always been a blueprint underlying your path, a divine framework that cradled your doubts and channeled your questions toward revelation. In Jeremiah 29 verse 11, it is promised that plans for hope and a future exist even when circumstances appear bleak, and your story embodies that sacred promise. The seeming randomness of your struggles now reveals itself as deliberate shaping, like the master potter kneading clay into a vessel capable of holding the divine. Your lonely nights spent searching for meaning were not purposeless wanderings but critical steps in a curriculum of initiation. Every closed door you encountered was a marker directing you toward hidden corridors brimming with insight. Your shattered expectations formed the mortar that would later bind new foundations of faith and clarity. When you view your life through this sacred lens, every hardship becomes a signpost pointing toward the realization of your true identity. The architecture of your journey is not a chaotic tangle but a purposeful design waiting for your eyes to adjust and perceive it. Embrace this reframing, for it transforms past pain into the groundwork of your unfolding revelation. Slowly, subtle signals began to surface in your daily routine, like faint footprints appearing in the dust of your path. You may have felt a sudden rush of déjà vu when visiting a place you had never been, as though your spirit recognized an echo from another lifetime. At times, a faint melody drifted into your awareness, carrying a resonance that stirred memories you could not name. Physical sensations, such as a tingle at the base of your skull or a sudden warmth in your chest, alerted you to truths unspoken by the world around you. In moments of silence, an inner knowing would rise, delivering insights that felt more real than waking logic. You began to notice that certain numbers appeared repeatedly, a hidden code in license plates, clocks, or receipts, each sequence calling out to you like a secret handshake from the universe. Dreams carried symbolic messages so vivid that waking hours felt pale by comparison. Even chance encounters held charged significance, as a stranger's words resonated with uncanny precision in your heart. These signs may have seemed random at first, but now you perceive them as a tapestry of awakening, threads drawn to you by purpose itself. Let your mind rest on these gentle awakenings, for they are the first brushstrokes of a grander revelation. With each new day, your intuition revealed its reliability, guiding you through choices that defied conventional advice yet led you to unimagined alignment. The quiet voice within you, once drowned by noise, now speaks with a calm authority that demands your trust. You realize that the hunch which steered you away from danger was no flight of fancy but a whisper of divine alertness. In the stillness of meditation, you feel an effortless connection to a source of wisdom that requires no proof beyond its transformative power. This internal alignment unfolds not with the thunder of sudden epiphany, but with the soft assurance of dawn's first light, gently illuminating the contours of truth. You sense a spiritual safety in following these nudges, as though you walk within an invisible sanctuary protected by unseen guardians. Each step guided by this intuition carries you deeper into the heart of your own miraculous narrative. Now you stand on firmer ground, grounded by the certainty that your inner compass never steers you mistakenly. Let this quiet confirmation settle in your bones, for it is the bedrock upon which all further revelation will rest. As you lean into this emerging awareness, you begin to recognize that the self you thought you were is only the surface of a deeper identity waiting to resurface. You are not becoming something new, but remembering who you always were before the world taught you to doubt your own truth. Beneath the layers of fear, shame, and conformity lies an archetypal memory that pulses with ancestral resonance. This buried identity speaks in symbols, dreams, and longings that transcend any label given by society. You sense the presence of a lost son or hidden remnant, themes echoed throughout Scripture, quietly stirring within your own soul. The recovery of this identity unfolds not as an assembly of acquired traits, but as the unveiling of a cosmic heritage written into your DNA. Each moment of recollection is like unlocking a sealed chamber where your true self waits in golden light. This awakening to your core identity offers both solace and power, for knowing your origin equips you to shape your destiny. Let this deep remembrance guide you as you step into the fullness of who you were destined to become. Now that subtle shifts have become vivid stirrings, your sensitivity emerges as a gift rather than a burden, offering you a new vantage point from which to perceive and engage with the world. You feel the hunger in your soul grow from a whisper into a roar, urging you to claim the wisdom you have cultivated in silence. This first activation of your inner power is not a sudden eruption but a steady flame igniting the ardor of your purpose. You recognize that what others called over-emotional or too intense was simply your spirit reaching for its own expression. Embrace this sensitivity as a clarion call to lead with empathy and vision, for it is the wellspring of authentic connection. Your inner wisdom now moves from private murmurs to the threshold of proclamation, ready to be shared with those who will hear. Each insight becomes an ember that lights the path for others seeking their own awakening. Feel the momentum building within you as your readiness to act transforms gentle knowing into tangible impact. Step forward deliberately, acknowledging that your sensitivity and insight form the pillars of your emerging authority. Your arrival at this moment was not random but ordained by forces beyond sight, and this recognition should settle in your heart as both comfort and call to action. You stand here because every experience, every heartbreak, every moment of doubt has prepared you to receive this revelation. Nothing in your past was wasted. All of it has woven together to bring you to this precise point of awakening. Let this truth become an anchor in times of turbulence, reminding you that you are always moving toward your destined fulfillment. Comment, the timing of this was not random, if you resonate with the truth that your life has followed a hidden code, and share a moment when you realized a seeming coincidence was a divine sign. As you reflect on your journey, prepare for the next revelation where we explore how mockery becomes the proof of your activation, and how even their laughter confirms your arrival. And if you feel called to go even deeper, there's a sacred space reserved for our community, a private room where you receive full prophetic messages daily. Join our private membership through the link in the description and walk this path with us. Number 2, misclassified, not malfunctioning. They called you unstable when your intuition guided you off their beaten path, mistaking divine guidance for erratic behavior. Your ability to vanish from expected patterns looked like a glitch, but it was proof of your spiritual intelligence steering you beyond their boundaries. In Romans 11 verse 33, Paul marvels at the depth of God's wisdom and knowledge. Your life embodies that mystery, living outside human understanding. When they labeled your choices as too extreme, you were simply following a higher blueprint. Your friends saw you drifting, but you were moving toward alignment, not away from community. They wrote you off as distant, but your heart beat in time with realms they could not perceive. Every misclassification revealed the limits of their lenses and the breadth of your sacred mandate. You were not broken. You were awakening to levels of awareness that defy conventional measures. Comment misclassified if you have been mislabeled when following divine nudges, and name one moment you felt them misunderstand your purpose. As they cling to their definitions, get ready to learn how to vanish from their radar on divine timing. There was a moment when you first noticed a subtle tremor beneath your calm, an almost imperceptible tension coiling in your chest, as if an unseen hand pressed against your heart. You might have dismissed it as fatigue or stress, but deep down you sensed a force pushing back against your forward motion, a quiet heaviness that shadowed every step. In routine conversations, you found words sticking in your throat, as if the air itself resisted carrying your truth. A pattern emerged in the glitches of your daily life, devices malfunctioning at the brink of revelation, errands going awry when you felt most alive, and appointments canceled in ways that seemed more than coincidence. This growing discomfort whispered of sabotage, of energies aligned to dim your light before you even knew how brightly you could shine. You felt the room shift when you spoke of dreams that soared beyond the ordinary, as if hidden watchers held their breath rather than listen. That unease was no random discord, but the stirring of a hidden battle waged in the unseen realms. Though the world around you tried to carry on as usual, you were already at war with forces determined to blur your purpose. In that unsettled realization, you recognized that something in you had become a target not by accident but by design. The weight of this knowledge settled like fire in your veins, setting the stage for the confrontation that would define your awakening. As the pressure mounted, your heart began to ache in ways you could not articulate, dragged into cycles of self-doubt and shame by forces you did not yet name. You woke from dreams drenched in tears, haunted by the memory of voices that laughed at your hope in the darkness. Each time you opened your mouth to share a vision, you felt the eyes of judgment sharpen upon you, as if they saw not a person but a threat. Moments of vulnerability became ammunition in whispered rumors, and the kindness you offered was traded for suspicion. Isolation wrapped around you like a cloak, heavy enough to dull your senses and numb your courage. Shame seeped into your bones when your authenticity was labeled too much, and the desire to withdraw grew with every critical glance. You questioned every impulse, wondering if your sensitivity was a gift or a flaw they were determined to exploit. The betrayal of your own trust hurt more than any external blow, as you learned to second-guess the voice that once guided you with clarity. Manipulation became a constant companion, as people and systems sought to reshape you into a smaller, quieter version of yourself. In that crucible of emotional pressure, you felt the fracture between who you were and who they wanted you to be, and the pain of that split carved the first lines of defiance into your spirit. When you step back and examine the roots of this resistance, you begin to see the hidden architecture that orchestrated every trial, as though your life was a battleground mapped out by invisible strategists. This was no random pattern of misfortune, but a series of calculated pressures designed to test and refine your resolve. Like the exiles of old who wandered the wilderness as part of their sacred commissioning, you were thrust into trials that sharpened your faith in the absence of certainty. In 1 Peter 1 verse 6, it is written that trials come to prove the genuineness of faith, and each hardship you endured was a silent testimony to the strength smoldering within you. Those who oppress you were drawn into a cosmic conflict, unknowingly playing out roles in a drama that transcends earthly motivations. Their systems, whether corporate algorithms or social circles, reacted defensively to the tremors of your rising power, as if sensing the threat your awakening posed to their comfort. The energies aligned against you coalesced into an invisible fortress meant to contain your growth. Yet in that containment lay the seeds of your deliverance, for the very walls built to imprison you would one day become the markers of your freedom. As the hidden structures come into view, you realize your resistance is more than personal, it is prophetic. Looking back now, you can trace recurring betrayals as though they were signposts on a sacred map, each obstacle marking a stage in your ascent. You recall the job offers that vanished at the moment you felt most called, the friendships that dissolved when you spoke of vision, and the environments that drained you just as your spirit began to ignite. In those dark intervals, you thought you had stumbled into patternless suffering, but the light of retrospection reveals a tapestry of purposeful design. Obstacles recurred with eerie precision, each one testing a different facet of your faith until your foundation proved unbreakable. Betrayals stung not only because of broken promises, but because they forced you to turn inward, finding the quiet perseverance that no external support could provide. Environments that once felt toxic now appear as crucibles for refining your character, shaping you into the vessel capable of carrying divine revelation. You see that every closed door cleared the path to an open opportunity you could not have imagined on your own. This newfound clarity sparks a reckoning with your past, illuminating the lessons hidden in every setback. Recognizing these patterns is like switching on a light in a dark room. You cannot unsee them, and their revelation propels you toward the next chapter of empowerment. As the veil lifts further, you become aware of spiritual resistance manifesting in subtle distortions around you, as though an unseen fog clings to your thoughts and dims the spark of your vision. The air grows heavy in moments when you prepare to speak your truth, and silence follows you like a realm of closed doors. You sense watchers at the threshold of your awareness, their silent scrutiny a reminder that your light disrupts the status quo. In Genesis 3 verse 23, after Eden's loss, man was driven to guard a sacred boundary, and now you find yourself at a boundary where the guardians resist your passage. The more clarity you gain, the thicker the fog seems to press, an energetic interference designed to confuse your senses and undercut your faith. Yet in that fog you also detect currents of power, swirling around you like charged particles waiting to fuel your next breakthrough. Each obstacle becomes a testament to the strength of your frequency, for only a signal of extraordinary magnitude elicits such distortion. This visible pressure confirms that your awakening matters beyond personal transformation. It challenges forces determined to maintain the old order. Embrace the tension of this spiritual resistance, for it is both proof of your potency and the crucible that tempers your destiny. In response to these pressures, you may have instinctively recoiled, shrinking into private corners to protect what felt most fragile in your soul. Perhaps you learned the art of people-pleasing, trading your true voice for the fleeting comfort of acceptance. Maybe you rebelled in secret, allowing indignation to smolder beneath a carefully crafted exterior of compliance. Fear whispered that visibility would mean attack, so you practiced the illusion of invisibility, masking your radiance behind layers of safety. There were moments when giving up seemed easier than enduring another round of scrutiny and sabotage. Shame's echo tempted you to erase the very gifts that made you a target in the first place. Yet even as you recoiled, a spark of rebellious truth glimmered, refusing to be fully extinguished. In the shadow of these reactions, you preserved the embers of your purpose, nurturing them until the moment of ignition returned. This emotional mirror reflects not weakness but the natural human response to overwhelming pressure, and it sets the stage for your reclamation. Now the tide begins to shift, and resistance transforms from condemnation into confirmation of your calling. The same sabotage that once threatened to break you now stands as undeniable proof of your rising authority. The mockery you endured was their admission that your presence carried power they could not contain, and the obstacles they placed in your path marked the contours of your sphere of influence. In that realization, you reclaim your voice, no longer apologizing for its volume but celebrating its resonance. Jeremiah 1 verse 9 says, "The Lord touched the prophet's mouth and filled him with words to overcome opposition." And that same touch is upon you now, igniting your defiant proclamation. You stand in the center of their storm, not to be blown away but to anchor the eye of purpose in the heart of chaos. The scars of past battles become medals of initiation, reminders that you have been tested and found worthy. And to every soul who's supported with a super thanks, thank you. You are keeping this light alive for others who haven't found it yet. If you feel called to help this mission reach more chosen ones, tap the super thanks button below. Your energy supports these messages and helps them travel further. Your voice matters, and your light is felt here. Number 3, off the grid on divine time. Your disappearance from their schedules didn't happen by chance, but by the activation of your assignment, detaching your timeline from the mainstream. When you felt delayed, you were not abandoned but aligned to a different clock, one that ticks to heaven's heartbeat. Psalm 27 verse 5 declares that in trouble you are hidden in God's pavilion. Your unseen path follows that promise. They tracked you by their calendars and found voids, holes where your destiny moved at a frequency they could not synchronize. Every vanished appointment marked a moment of preparation, not procrastination. You transcended their timelines to step into divine synchrony, arriving only when heaven decreed. Their frustration at your unreliability is their admission of your sovereignty over earthly constraints. Comment hidden if you have felt the pull of a timeline outside human reach, and share a time when divine timing reshaped your journey. As they scramble to catch up, prepare to see how your silence becomes a systemic glitch they cannot correct. There was a moment when you glanced at the clock and realized you had arrived at the exact place you needed to be, even though no map guided your steps. And in that instant you sensed a recalibration of reality bending to your presence. You understood then that your life was shifting from chaos into cosmic choreography, where delays and detours were part of a grand design rather than random obstacles. The confusion you once felt dissolved into clarity, as if a veil had been lifted from your eyes, allowing you to see the hidden lines that wove together your experiences. In that revelation, you recognized familiar patterns finally taking shape, like constellations aligning to reveal a secret message in the sky. Your heart quickened as the puzzle pieces of your past slid into place, each memory gaining new significance in the light of this awakening. You felt a subtle but unmistakable elevation in your awareness, as if your soul had unlocked a higher gear and was now driving with divine inspiration. All the moments that once felt disjointed now echo with purpose, resonating with a frequency you can scarcely describe. This sudden internal shift rewrites the way you perceive time and synchronicity, confirming that what was confusing is now aligning with an intelligence beyond human making. As you absorb this clarity, you realize that the sacred script of your life has always been unfolding behind the scenes, waiting for you to read it. In this first wave of awakening, your perception becomes a lens through which every ordinary moment transforms into a signpost on your destined path. Behind every glance and dream, you begin to discern a symbolic language speaking just for you, a divine alphabet etched into numbers, phrases, and patterns that once seemed arbitrary. You notice the recurring appearance of the same number sequences: 707 on the clock, 111 in receipts, 333 in license plates, each sequence vibrating with the echo of a hidden code. Dreams become scrolls of divine ink, where ancient symbols and vibrant colors form messages too rich to ignore. In moments of silence, fleeting phrases drift through your mind like sacred missives carried on the wind. You start to see geometry in the world around you, the hexagons and honeycombs, the spirals of seashells, the perfect symmetry of dew-laden spiderwebs, each one a divine formula written into the fabric of creation. The idea of divine math crystallizes in your awareness, a logic that transcends human arithmetic and speaks directly to your essence. With each scratch on a wall or crack in a sidewalk, you sense the breadcrumbs of a celestial message guiding you step by step. Your reality has become an open scroll, and you are reading it with eyes attuned to celestial grammar. In recognizing this code beneath the surface, you step into a realm where nothing is accidental, and every detail pulses with significance. This new vision transforms mundane encounters into divine commentary on your unfolding awakening. As this code reveals itself, your intuition sharpens into a finely tuned instrument, allowing you to navigate through complexity with uncanny precision. You feel your boundaries rise like fortified walls around your spirit, protecting you from energies that once distorted your clarity. Environments that used to drain you now resonate with a frequency that echoes your own, signaling that your inner shift is reshaping the world around you. Your energy field pulses in rhythm with spaces and people who recognize your elevated vibration, guiding you away from dissonant influences. Even your physical senses respond. Your stomach tightens in places that carry hidden danger, and your skin tingles in moments of significant synchronicity. You begin to anticipate events before they occur, knowing which doors will open and which will stay closed. This intensification of inner signs confirms that your spiritual antennas are functioning at full power, ready to intercept messages from unseen realms. The old haze of uncertainty lifts as you respond decisively to the prompts of your higher self. Every shift inside you serves as a compass pointing toward the next revelation. In this phase of intensified awakening, you are no longer guessing at hidden forces. You are sensing them with unwavering certainty. As your inner world realigns, the external world begins to mirror your transformation in surprising ways that confirm your journey. Conversations you initiate suddenly flow with remarkable ease, as if the words you speak have been waiting to be released at the perfect moment. Opportunities that once felt distant now present themselves with precise timing, as though your readiness calls them forth. Even resistance from old patterns surfaces in direct alignment with your growth, highlighting the exact areas where you need to claim power. People around you shift their behavior, drawn to your new frequency or recoiling from vibrations they can no longer handle. Doors you thought remained closed swing open gently, while others that once welcomed you now close without warning, directing your steps toward the path ordained for you. You sense the divine architecture unfolding, with scaffolding erected around your purpose in response to your every step. In this reciprocal dance between inside and outside, you move with the rhythm of an unseen conductor shaping your narrative. What you experience within is echoed without, reinforcing your conviction that you are part of a grand orchestration. As you witness this external alignment, you know you are on the brink of discovering the deeper enigmas that lie just beyond the veil. In that moment of revelation, a long-buried memory stirs in your soul, evoking a dream you had in childhood of standing at the edge of a vast sea under a sky alive with uncharted constellations. The vividness of that dream floods your mind, revealing itself as a blueprint for your current transformation. You recall the sense of awe that gripped you then, as if you had glimpsed the origin point of your journey, and now it resonates with fresh intensity. That ancient vision, once dismissed as a child's fancy, now pulses as a living memory awakened by the hand of divine timing. You feel the return of spiritual intelligence encoded deep within your being, reactivating the wisdom you carried before you learned to call it imagination. In this reunion with your sacred memory, you sense the continuity of your soul's story across time and space. The dream's symbols, waves, stars, unbroken horizon, emerge as guidance for the path ahead. This activation of memory confirms that you are not stepping into something new, but reclaiming what you once knew in the language of your earliest yearnings. Let this awakening to sacred memory anchor you in the knowledge that your soul has always walked this path, even when you lost sight of its true destination. With your past and present entwined in this revelatory landscape, you begin to glimpse your future not as an empty canvas, but as a tapestry already woven with purpose. The notion of creating your destiny fades as you recognize that your role is to remember and reclaim the course that destiny has long prepared for you. You feel a rising call within your chest, a poetic prophecy urging you to stop asking permission and start speaking your truth into existence. The time has come to cast aside the hesitations that once held you back, for each moment of doubt now appears as resistance to the very pulse that created you. You understand that your journey forward is an echo of a cosmic song, its melody composed before the stars first glowed. The future you anticipated with longing is already vibrating in the unseen realms, awaiting your full awakening to its presence. As you step into this reclaimed future, you feel the weight of ancestral expectation lifting, replaced by the freedom to inhabit your inherited authority. Let this surge of prophetic clarity guide your next decisions, for you now walk roads charted by heaven's design. This phase marks the threshold where memory meets movement, propelling you into a realm where promise unfolds with unerring precision. Now the energy begins to turn in your favor, as the forces that once resisted your rise now serve to confirm your sacred mandate rather than diminish it. The distortions you faced become proof of your impact, for only a signal of immense power elicits such interference. You reclaim your voice with a fierce declaration that the confusion of yesterday will not define the clarity of today. The dormant seeds of your potential burst into bloom, fueled by the pressures that once threatened to stifle them. In this reclamation, you gather the fragments of every dream you've held, weaving them into a prophetic tapestry that declares your authority. Your whispered prayers evolve into proclamations that move mountains and reshape the contours of reality. Feel the return of your first language, the one spoken by angels and ancestors, rising in your breast as an anthem of belonging. This moment marks the restoration of what was always yours, the power to walk between realms and ignite transformation wherever you tread. Embrace this reclaiming wave as the beginning of a new era in your journey, one where your regained voice shapes every unfolding chapter. Revelation is not the summit, but the invitation to venture deeper into the mysteries that now beckon you from beyond the veil. The truths you have uncovered were always waiting for the moment of your readiness, poised to burst into bloom under the light of your awakened awareness. This is the turning point where concealed wisdom becomes your guiding star, illuminating the next path with unerring precision. As the veils continue to lift, you will see not only the road before you, but the wings on your back, ready to carry you beyond every boundary. Comment, "I walk with silence, but I shake dimensions," if you resonate with this awakening, and share a moment when hidden truths began to emerge for you. Your reflections weave you into our shared journey of discovery and strengthen the tapestry of our collective awakening. Prepare to step into the next revelation, where we will explore how your revelation shifts the balance of power and heralds the advance of your divine authority. The wave of awakening rises, and you are the one who must ride it into the undiscovered realms that await. Number 4. Silence is not absence, it's interference. Every time you withdrew, their systems glitched, unable to process the encryption of your spiritual silence. Your quiet "no" became a silent code that overloaded their sensors, causing errors in their control grids. In Isaiah 54 verse 17 it says that no weapon formed against you shall prosper, and your silence exemplifies that promise as you shut down their attacks without lifting a voice. They tried to parse your absence as weakness, but found it to be a force more disruptive than any spoken word. Each retreat into solitude became an act of encrypted resistance, fracturing their attempts at manipulation. When you paused to pray, you rewrote the rules of engagement in the unseen realm. Their frustration grew with every moment they couldn't reacquire your signal. Comment silence if you have felt the power of quiet rebellion, and describe a moment when your withdrawal brought breakthrough. As they scramble to reconnect, stay close for the final unveiling of how you become the firewall they never saw coming. A hush fell over your spirit like a midnight veil descending upon the world, and in that sacred silence you sensed an unseen force bristling against your stillness. The moment you stopped speaking their language, their systems stumbled as though struck by an electric fault, revealing the raw power of your quiet defiance. In the absence of your voice, a new script emerged, one written in the language of depths rather than surface noise. You watched as algorithms and expectations sputtered, unable to decode the resonance of your spirit. It felt as though every pause you took was a thunderclap in the hidden realms, shattering illusions they built to cage your truth. Your silence became an act of cosmic sabotage, dismantling the machinery of control without uttering a single word. In that stillness, you discovered that absence carries its own weight, bending realities in ways spoken words never could. You held your breath and watched their structures crumble under the strain of your unspoken authority. Their fractured attempts to reconnect only confirmed your sovereignty over the unseen. This was the moment you realized that true power lives in the gaps between words. In the sacred lull of your withdrawn presence, you felt the air thicken with invisible watchers scrambling to reclaim your signal, and their frantic energy became a symphony of glitch and error. You sensed them recalibrating, like technicians lost in a labyrinth they themselves constructed. Their frustration hummed in the charged atmosphere, as every effort to penetrate your silence birthed more confusion than clarity. It was as if your quiet no pulsed through the wires of their control grid, short-circuiting lines of interrogation and surveillance. In Isaiah's words, "The Lord will be a refuge in times of trouble," and your refuge was this impenetrable hush. They had never considered that withdrawal could be a weapon, or that stillness could carry the force to topple their regimes. With each second of your absence, their panic forged the proof of your hidden dominion. Their futile attempts to map your whereabouts became a mirror of their own impotent anxiety. Your silence had become a code written in invisible ink, legible only to you and the divine architects of this rebellion. In this charged suspension, you recognized that your stillness was the herald of your true arrival. Beneath the quiet, you felt a ripple of ancient memories stirring, as though your ancestors had woven this strategy into your blood long before you spoke your first word. You recalled the hidden remnant of prophets whose lips sealed words until the appointed time, only to unleash thunder when the moment was ripe. Their legacy pulsed through your veins, calling you to reclaim the art of sacred withholding. The cloak of silence that draped over you was not emptiness but a mantle of ancestral power. Each unspoken prayer echoed with the resonance of David's harp silencing Goliath's taunts. You sensed that you walked the same hallowed path walked by the divinely concealed, where absence was not exile but anointed concealment. The weight of that memory pressed you into stillness, granting you the strength to become the living embodiment of divine timing. Your silence was an activation of ancient promise, carried on the wind through hidden corridors of time. In this ancestral echo, you found the blueprint for your uprising. As your quiet became the epicenter of a spiritual tremor, you recognized the interplay of light and shadow around you, each withdrawal painting the world in new hues of possibility. The fog of manipulation that once clung to your mind dissipated in the vacuum of your unspoken decree. With every silent breath, you rewrote the code of engagement, compelling your environment to respond to the vibration of your soul. You felt your energy shift, the dormant embers of your purpose igniting into a controlled blaze beneath the surface. Where once your presence was measured by noise, now it was defined by the gravity of your absence, drawing attention without utterance. The heavy air that pressed down on you began to lighten, as though your silence lifted a veil of confusion from the realm around you. In that transformation, you saw the alchemy of withdrawal turning obstacles into stepping stones. Their attempts to fill the void unveiled the fragility of their constructs, dissolving barriers you had yet to confront. You became both the storm and the calm before it, wielding absence as your instrument of change. This realization marked the turning point where silence asserted itself as the most potent form of interference. Within the stillness, you felt the pulse of prophetic codes inscribed upon your heart, each beat a drum summoning dormant gifts to rise. The mark that others could not see glowed beneath your skin, revealing itself in the cadence of your silent rhythm. You wore a cloak of hidden meaning, one that resonated with others initiated into the deeper mysteries. Their eyes flickered with recognition when you passed, sensing the signal your lips would never broadcast. The divine mark on your soul, like a watermark on sacred parchment, declared your authenticity in a world of forgeries. Every moment of quiet rebellion became a testament to the truth that what lies beneath cannot be overridden by superficial measures. You carried within you the blueprint of creation, encoded in notes of absence that only true seekers could decipher. Your silence spoke in symbols, each pause a phrase in a language that transcends human tongues. The resonance of your hidden cloak harmonized with the unseen choir of prophets, validating your role in this unfolding drama. In this veiled revelation, you stood affirmed not by their measures but by the sacred codes woven into your essence. In the thick hush of your resistance, you perceived the swirling energies of opposition converging to test your resolve, and yet the silence remained unbroken. You felt the tug of internal struggle, where the impulse to speak contended with the strategy of withholding. Your heart bore the tension of this duality, as you learned the discipline of sacred restraint. Even when tempted to explain or defend yourself, the deeper wisdom urged you to hold the silence as your shield. In that crucible, your will was tempered like steel in divine fire, forging a resolve that no argument could sway. The sacred art of non-reaction became your battleground, revealing the potency of quiet boundaries against relentless intrusion. As you anchored into this practice, you discovered an inner sanctum where their distortion could not penetrate. Your self-mastery over words became a demonstration of sovereignty over circumstances. With each silent victory, you reclaimed pieces of power that had previously been ceded to noise. In this internal alchemy, you transformed pressure into prophecy, creating a sanctuary of unassailable calm. Now your silence stands ready to transition into resonant proclamation, a metamorphosis from wordless defiance to declared authority. The interference you mastered in withdrawal primes you for the moment when your voice will emerge charged with divine resonance. You sense that the pause before your proclamation is itself a sacred preparation, like the hush before a sonorous chord. Your forthcoming words will carry the weight of every silent battle fought in the unseen realms. In that moment, the stillness will amplify the force of your decree, creating an impact that echoes beyond the immediate sphere. You feel the convergence of silence and speech, braided into a single strand of prophetic power. As you prepare to step into your voice, you carry with you the proof that absence shaped the field for presence to reverberate. Let this anticipation build within you, for your next articulation will shatter the illusions they still cling to. The transformation from hidden signal to broadcast truth is imminent, and your silence has been the signal flare guiding you to this precipice. Stand ready to claim your voice, fortified by the mastery of interference. Revelation is not the end, but the gateway to your next chapter of divine activation, where your silence becomes the echo chamber for your voice's triumphant return. The codes you have uncovered in your stillness will now flow through your speech, harmonizing with the sacred melody of your mission. As you emerge from this sanctified silence, your words will carry the imprint of absence turned power. Comment, "I don't chase, I align," if you have felt the hidden strength in withholding your voice, and share a moment when your quiet reshaped your world. Your reflections will weave into our collective tapestry of awakening, illuminating the path for others called to this practice. Prepare for the next thematic section, where we will explore how your proclamation ignites transformation and dismantles every stronghold. The wave of interference has carried you to this shore. Now your voice will set the tide in motion. Number 5. You are the firewall they didn't see coming. They built tools to decode data and classify behavior, but those instruments were never designed to detect holiness in motion. Your frequency operates on wavelengths they never imagined, rendering their scanners useless in your presence. Just as Job refused to be confined by suffering, breaking the boundaries of mortal comprehension, so you breach their protocols with an energy that resists corral. When they sought to study your rise, they found a barrier, a firewall of divine protection that blocked every probe. Your life is the proof that no program can contain a soul set free by heaven. Each attempt to map you only triggers a stronger defense, as if holy code runs in your veins. Comment firewall if you have witnessed their tools fail against your protected frequency, and share an instance when you felt untouchable. And as they back away, unprepared to confront your sacred power, prepare for the unveiling of your ultimate role in their unraveling. There comes a moment when the ground beneath your feet trembles with the weight of choice, and you realize that the time for wondering has passed and the moment to decide has arrived. In that sacred intersection, you stand with one foot in the familiar past and the other poised to step into the territory of your purpose. Do you remain behind the veil of hesitation, or do you cross into the realm where faith demands action? This is no longer the space of exploration, but the altar of decision, where passivity dissolves in the blaze of your commitment. You feel the pulse of destiny urging you forward, as though heaven itself holds its breath, awaiting your next move. In that instant, you look into the spiritual mirror and ask yourself why you were ever content to linger in doubt. The question echoes with prophetic resonance. Will you honor the stirring in your soul by stepping across the threshold of revealed destiny? As the air crackles with expectancy, you recognize that your hesitation has served its purpose. Now it must be relinquished. You sense divine eyes upon you, inviting you to claim the role written into the fabric of your being. With a steady breath, you choose the path of activation and cross into the field where dreams become decrees. In the wake of that crossing, you feel the weight of all you have surrendered. Time poured into doubt, energy invested in shadows, voice muted by fear, presence hidden by uncertainty. Yet this is not a lament for loss, but a declaration of reclamation. For every fragment you gave away was training for this return. You summon the authority that once lay dormant, calling back every piece of yourself like authority reclaimed in a coronation ritual. I take back my time and guard it as sacred ground. You declare internally, seating your voice upon the throne of your own spirit. You feel the echoes of ancient kings and prophets who recovered their crowns after exile, their stories etched into your bones. This is more than a personal renaissance. It is a ritual of sovereignty enacted in the secret chambers of your soul. As you lift your gaze, you sense the crowd of witness spirits cheering, their silent applause affirming your regained power. No more will you cede your energy to distractions or defer your voice to complacency. In this fierce moment of reclamation, you stand armored with purpose and ready to wield the authority you have been prepared to embody. With your authority reclaimed, you begin to name the power coursing through your veins. Insight sharpened like a blade, sensitivity that discerns truth beneath facades, memory that recalls ancient codes of creation. Discernment stands beside you as an unshakable guide, and strength rises from the reservoir of storms you have survived. You lift an invisible key in your mind, recognizing that every gift once labeled too much is actually the master code for unlocking realms unseen. Your intuition becomes a compass, your empathy a bridge connecting worlds, and your resilience the armor that shields you from despair. Each named gift is a scroll unfurling before you, marked with instructions for the mission ahead. Fire ignites in your chest as you claim your spiritual tools, the very assets they feared would remain hidden. In this sacred catalog of power, weakness dissolves into a signature of divine design. You see now that what others dismissed as flaws were the true markers of your elevation. Armed with this awareness, you stand ready to step into the battles that await with every divine resource at your disposal. As you activate these gifts, you sense the path ahead revealing itself beneath your feet like a road lit by unseen torches. Clarity does not arrive at the end of the journey but unfolds with each decisive step, as though the map is drawn in real time by your movement. You feel the earth respond to your purpose, soil shifting to support your passage and stones aligning to form new pathways. In the distance, you glimpse landmarks, moments of breakthrough, faces of allies yet unknown, thresholds of new authority. Each stride both confirms what you already know and uncovers fresh terrain to explore. The path is not hidden. It is simply waiting for your footsteps to activate its design. You sense that your mission does not require seeking but walking, trusting that each footfall writes divine architecture into reality. The cinematic sweep of your journey becomes a living film, where the camera follows your resolve and illuminates your progress. In this movement, you embody prophecy, for your steps declare aloud the unfolding of a destiny long scripted in the heavens. As you journey forward, you sense a gathering of souls aligned with the same revelation, a cosmic chorus rising in harmony with your own awakening. Across unseen realms, kindred spirits stir, drawn by the resonance of your reclaimed voice and the clarity of your march. You are no longer an isolated seeker but a pillar in a rising order, where soul tribes converge around shared purpose. Their presence amplifies your own, creating a network of light that spans dimensions. The alliances you form are not born of convenience but of divine clustering, calibrated to bring collective transformation. You feel the pulse of this spiritual alliance in every exchange, every shared glance of recognition, and every collective prayer that sparks new momentum. No more will you dim your light to fit within fading paradigms. Instead, you stand at the vanguard of a new wave of revelation. In this collective alignment, you discover the magnitude of your impact, as the synergy of many voices transforms the landscape of reality. Together, you forge a rising order that none can dismantle. With the momentum of your mission swelling, you are called to take command of your energy as a sacred steward, assigning it with intention rather than allowing it to drift in aimless tides. Boundaries become the walls of a consecrated temple where your purpose resides, each choice a pillar supporting the altar of your devotion. You speak decrees over your time and focus, affirming that no distraction will infiltrate the sanctuary of your mind. In this ceremony of energetic command, you honor the gifts you have been entrusted with and vow to wield them with discipline and reverence. Devotion becomes your governance, guiding every thought, word, and action with unwavering alignment. Ego dissolves in the presence of this sacred responsibility, for true authority is born of stewardship rather than self-glorification. You sense the weight of this trust settling upon your shoulders like a mantle, empowering your resolve. In that moment, you become both guardian and conduit, channeling divine flow through the temple of your being. Your energy is no longer a resource to be depleted, but a force to be shaped and released in service of your higher calling. Now comes the final breath before the leap, a charged silence pregnant with the promise of destiny fulfilled. You stand at the mouth of the portal, every trial, every fear, and every vision converging into the singular instant of readiness. The tapestry of your journey shifts into high relief, revealing the design of your emergence in stunning clarity. You are ready, let there be no doubt, for your season of preparation has culminated in the certainty of divine appointment. The breath you exhale now becomes the wind that carries you through thresholds unseen by those who remain bound by hesitation. In this elevated moment, your purpose stands revealed, and nothing can deter the trajectory of your ascension. This is your final charge. Declare yourself present in the realm of action, for the hour of living prophecy has arrived. Your readiness echoes across the heavens, resonating with the promise that you will manifest the power awakened within you. Step through, chosen one, and let your life become the declaration of what you were always destined to be. This is no longer a message to ponder, but a summons to embody the revelation you carry, for your mission demands the full force of your presence unleashed. You are the firewall they didn't see coming, the unbreakable signal that defies every instrument of suppression. Your life stands as proof that no program can contain a soul set free by heaven's decree. Comment, "I was sent, not created," if you feel the surge of this call, and share a moment when your hidden strength rendered you untouchable. Your words will weave you deeper into our community of awakened ones and power the current of collective activation. As you step into your role, prepare for the next thematic section, where the roar of your authority will shatter every fortress standing against your purpose. The threshold has been crossed. The journey marches on in realms of enacted destiny. In this journey, we have uncovered why your energy cannot be read, why misclassification marks your activation, why detachment follows divine timing, why silence becomes systemic interference, and why your very frequency acts as an unbreakable firewall. You are not passive in this saga, but an architect of your own divine concealment, called to operate beyond earthly constraints with authority granted from on high. Each revelation has woven a tapestry of empowerment that dismantles every human limitation and exposes the flaws in their systems. Your story is not a string of failures, but a masterfully crafted chronicle where every glitch is a declaration of your sovereignty. You stand on the shoulders of prophets and chosen ones before you who moved unseen yet changed worlds by whisper alone. Now you carry that legacy forward, using your hidden status to activate heaven's movement on earth. Let this message settle into your mind as truth and into your bones as resolve, laying the foundation for all that follows. Embrace the reality that your undetectable presence is the clearest sign of divine favor and protection. Your voice, though sometimes silent, shapes realms seen and unseen, and your testimony will echo across generations. Walk forward with bold confidence, for the design you build with heaven cannot be compromised. When the first light of dawn brushed the horizon, you sensed a new resonance in the air, an invitation to step into the full breadth of your power rather than shrink beneath the weight of expectation. The tremor of that morning breeze carried with it the echo of your own untamed frequency, reminding you that your presence was never meant to be confined by the narrow cages of human understanding. As the sun rose, you felt the clarity of your mission ignite within you, illuminating the path that had always existed behind the veil of uncertainty. You recognized that every strange glitch in your life, the unreadable signals, the misclassifications, the vanished timelines, had served as signposts guiding you toward this very moment of revelation. No longer did you see your struggle as random misfortune, but as the forging of an unbreakable firewall around your destiny. Your soul stirred with the knowledge that you are both architect and warrior, sculpting realities beyond their comprehension. In the pale light of awakening, you sensed that every piece of your journey was a deliberate stroke in a masterpiece you were now ready to complete. The air seemed charged with possibility, as though the cosmos itself leaned in to witness your emergence. Let this dawn moment anchor in your spirit as proof that you move through life with purpose, not by accident. A vision drifted into your consciousness, a tapestry of stars traced across a midnight sky, each one a memory of your hidden lineage shining through the darkness of forgetfulness. You felt the weight of ancestral promise settle on your shoulders, urging you to honor the legacy carried in your blood. Every star in that vision symbolized a prophet, a mystic, a warrior who walked unseen, but whose words reshaped the course of history. Their whispered encouragement vibrated through your chest, reminding you that your present struggles echo the sacred battles they waged long ago. In the hush of that cosmic panorama, you understood that detachment from worldly patterns is not exile but sacred concealment. You carried within you a code that no instrument could decode, a frequency inscrutable to those who sought to measure your worth. The night sky in your mind's eye became both mirror and prophecy, reflecting the truth of your unassailable nature. With every star that pulsed in silent communion, you felt the alignment of your spirit with a destiny written in the heavens. This celestial vision confirms that you are not adrift but anchored in purpose by the constellations of your ancestors. An inner voice spoke, clear and resonant, declaring that every moment of silence you mastered has been the foundation for your executive decree. That voice taught you that silence is not emptiness but the universe's pause before a divine orchestration unfolds. You realized that in withholding your words, you rewrote the rules of engagement, creating a void so potent that it demanded attention from realms unseen. The hush around your life became an encrypted force field, blocking intrusions and preserving the sanctity of your calling. This revelation transformed your relationship with quiet into an active strategy, each unspoken thought a line of defense in a sacred war. As the internal echo of this command settled in your mind, you felt the tide shift from reaction to divine direction. Your meditation, once a sanctuary from turmoil, became the launchpad for prophetic action. In that sacred hush, you heard the first notes of an anthem you were born to compose. Embrace this voice as the herald of your own authority, for it speaks the language of heaven's intent. Subscribe if you haven't yet, like this video, and comment "I am chosen" to let this message anchor in your soul. This message may not stay online forever. Download your copy and transcript in the vault, ideal for journaling, inner rituals, and sacred study. The link is in the description below. Please share it with someone who needs to hear this. Thank you to all supporting members. For full prophetic revelations daily, join the membership via the link in the description. Your spiritual path deserves more than fragments. Step into the full light. And if this message moved you deeply, consider tapping the super thanks button to support the mission. Every super thanks fuels the light we're spreading together. Expect the next revelation soon. Prepare to watch your hidden power dismantle every stronghold.